got work to do, but these games keep calling to you. Maybe you're on your way back from school on the bus or on your way back from work, stuck in traffic, and you can't help but think about these games that you want to play when you get home. You can't think about the next level you're going to do. You can't think about the next chorus you're going to try. And that has been a giant problem for me. When I was back a couple years ago trying to beat my gaming addiction, the number one thing that probably held me back was dealing with these cravings that I would get within maybe 24, 48 hours, the first week maybe of quitting gaming. Now, these cravings I had, I think were so serious because, well, for a number of reasons, which I'm going to explain in this video. But I really just didn't know how to manage my nostalgia and cravings. I didn't know the strategies that were available to me to kind of rewire my brain to not want to play video games in the first place, to not feel called or obligated to boot up the console when I got home, right? And this hasn't only been great for my productivity and for my mental health, but it's also been good for just the way that I perceive myself, the way that I respect myself, how I treat myself. Now that I know that I can resist these temptations and be more present and honest with myself, my quality of life is just that much higher. So let's dive into that topic. So quitting gaming is really a lifestyle change, and it's kind of a skill, right? Learning how to use willpower and discipline to your advantage when trying to quit gaming, it's a skill. It's something you have to build on. It's something you have to work on. It's something you have to exercise regularly in order to strengthen, right? Like a muscle. It gets better the more you use it. So because of that, when I tried to keep my console out in the open, but try to obviously not play it whenever I got home, right? When I was trying to train my willpower like that, I saw some significant gains in the amount of willpower I was getting, because I would come home and I would see this console, but then I realized, oh, I've already planned the rest of my day out. I've already planned out the rest of my afternoon. I don't have time to game. And then when I was bored later on, and I saw my console again, I said to myself, oh, I have this or that thing to read. I have to practice this or that thing for school. Or maybe you have these other obligations. But the thing is, the pattern that you can see here is that I'm keeping my console out in the open. I'm basically still exposing myself to this addiction that previously held me, that I'm trying to escape. But I have other obligations. I have other things to take care of, right? So I have to basically do kind of a push and a pull thing here, where I'm being pulled towards the video games, but I have to resist that. And I have to intentionally push myself towards doing other things, doing other obligations that aren't as fun as video games. This goes for the gym as well, with studying too. Any other good habit that you can think of that is relevant to you, that's going to help with your quitting video games, at least from my experience. So my daily routine when I was a gamer was basically just like, I'd see if you can draw parallels and differences between this routine versus my routine now as someone who isn't addicted for video games and has been free for a number of months, number of years now probably. So when I woke up back when I was just like a greasy little gamer, I would wake up on, say, like a school day. Then I'd probably go and eat breakfast. I'd probably eat something high in carbohydrates. I'd probably eat something processed. And then once I'd done that, I'd probably get dressed. And then I would probably just sit around for a while, scroll on my phone, and then I'd go to school. So I felt like I was being productive by eating breakfast and like even getting out of bed. But that was like, I was totally misled by that. By thinking it was productive or that it was conducive to any kind of success throughout the day. Because I found that I kind of had like this carb crash when I went out to school, and I didn't really have like a lot of motivation to do anything in school or otherwise, because I wasn't hungry. I didn't have this drive to complete anything, right? And we'll see how this ties into gaming, but I would probably wake up at around maybe 7:30 when I actually had to go to school during those days. So yeah, then I would have a school on the bus. I'd probably just like listen to some music or like watch a show I downloaded onto my phone. Then I would arrive at school. I would do my morning classes, kind of like half paying attention, half thinking about other stuff. Mornings were typically better than the afternoons. Then at lunchtime at school was probably my least favorite part of the day, because I had nobody. Yeah, basically I just had no friends. I would just like walk around the entire school and just like do laps in it, like like these elderly people do in shopping malls, or I would just sit in the library, pretend to read something, maybe just like go on my phone, be lonely, stuff like that, or just like sit alone and like eat my lunch. And that was pretty much my lunchtime. It was a pretty depressing time for me. There's like nobody telling me to do something, so basically I just had to make my own fun. And yeah, it was depressing because I was completely alone, just totally by myself on my own. And then I go to my afternoon classes, paying even less attention to what the teacher was saying and all this stuff. Even though I pride myself on my grades at this point, because that's basically the only productive thing I was doing, trying to boost my grade point average. That's like the only thing I was doing during this time that you could consider productive. I still wasn't paying that much attention because I was basically incapable of doing that, because I probably had like ADHD or some related illness, not illness, just like disorder that kept me from paying attention for long periods of time. And as you've hopefully seen in these videos, I've managed to overcome that quite a bit. I've managed to improve my attention span from meditation and focus work. And yeah, it's just something that I've been able to overcome. And has also helped me quit video games too, because how you beat ADHD is you basically just redirect your focus or your attention whenever you feel it drifting from something you want to focus on, right? So if this is my line of focus, right, this is what like my focus looks like throughout time, and like the camera right here is what I want to get to. Then when I'm right here and I'm coming towards my goal and I start drifting this way, like my focus, my attention, I start thinking about this or that thing that happened, this or that memory, what I should have said in this or that argument, that I kind of redirect my focus with my mind, like manually. I realize, oh, I'm having a thought that's distracting me from this situation, that I automatically just kind of snap it back to here, refocus on the task, keep going, right? And that's helpful to video games, because basically you can consider this kind of delineation as a craving to play video games, right? And then snapping that thought back in line, just acknowledging that you're having this thought, not beating yourself up about it, not saying, oh, that's a bad thought, I shouldn't think about that. Just saying, oh, I'm thinking about playing video games right now. I'm thinking about how cool it would be to re-succumb to my addiction. Maybe I should think about this other thing that's going to actually make me happy and give me real progress in life, right? And then you go back onto that line. And that's basically how you beat gaming addiction in a nutshell. But obviously that isn't good enough, because I knew that in a sense when I was trying to quit video games, like, oh yeah, just resist, just have willpower, just do that kind of stuff. But it never really worked for me. Maybe because my willpower was very weak. That was definitely part of the equation, but I just didn't know how to practically go about that, how to carry that out. So I'll explain that coming up, but yeah. By the way, if you're interested in getting extra help for quitting your gaming addiction for good from me personally, you can go ahead and buy my course. The link is in the description. It's about 2.5 hours of all of my expertise, basically filtered into very compact content that's going to help you quit video games within, I'd say, about 2 weeks of listening to it and applying what it says. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested. So after school was over, after my afternoon classes were done, I would go back on the bus doing the same thing, listening to music, watching a show, maybe talking to the people on there about like random stuff that I don't really care about. And then I get dropped off, walk back home, and then once I got home, that was when my day actually started. At least according to me back then, because then I would get to play video games. Then I would get to do the thing I pride myself on. So yeah, booting up my console, logging into my game, finding where I left off, just keeping the grind going, getting some actual stuff done, trying to optimize for this and that item yield within a game, or this and that goal or checkpoint. I played all different kinds of stuff, but one common theme between all of them was the fact that I looked to them for my fulfillment, my purpose in life. This is what I looked forward to when I woke up in the morning. This is what I was eventually trying to get to when I was sitting through class. Just these 3, 4, 5 hours that I would have free to myself so that I could just game, right? So I would play video games after coming home from school for about, I'd say, let's see here, maybe like 2 hours, and then I'd eat dinner. Like, my parents would make me dinner, obviously. So I just have to come upstairs and then eat some food, and then go back downstairs again, and then play for the rest of the night until I'd argue with my parents because they were telling me to get off, or I would just get like too tired to keep my eyes open, and I'd basically just like maybe not even taking a shower or brushing my teeth. I would just go straight back to bed, do it all over again. So yeah, that was a pretty pathetic existence. Looking back, I definitely didn't get like a lot of exposure to my family either. I didn't have that accountability. But yeah, I'll get to that. So nowadays, I'll go through my daily routine for days like today and yesterday. So I'm still in school, right? But I wake up at about 5 a.m. I print off the script for this video. I get dressed. I drink like some water with about like a tablespoon of sea salt in it just to wake me up. And then I come down here and then I record these videos, right? I do some speaking warm-ups, and then I turn on the camera, and then I do what I'm doing right now. Then after this, I'll probably post some content, then get ready to go to school. Go to school. On the way there, probably read a book, listen to a podcast that's relevant to me. Go through my morning classes. At lunch, I'll probably be in the workout room. I'll be lifting some weights. I'll be pushing really hard. Maybe filming some workout footage for my shorts. And then I'll go back to my afternoon classes. After those are done, I'll go back on the bus, still reading, still educating myself. Maybe some fiction, maybe some nonfiction. Maybe watching YouTube videos or podcasts that are relevant to what I'm trying to achieve right now. So my goals, where I want to get to, that kind of stuff. And then when I arrive home, I'll probably unload my bags, do a bit of homework if I have to, practice the instrument that I'm playing for band, then read a bit more, then probably eat dinner, which is like the only time I eat throughout the day. Probably just like low carb, keto, some nuts, some cheese, some meat, maybe like some Greek yogurt, some eggs, that kind of stuff. And then I'll take a shower, I'll meditate, I'll journal, I'll read a bit of this book that I have called The Daily Stoic, which is basically just like Stoic meditations for every day of the year. And then I'll probably plan tomorrow, take out my clothes for the next day, print off my script and everything for the next day, plan what video I'm going to do tomorrow, and then I'll go to bed. I maybe read for a bit until I'm tired. So yeah, that's basically what my day is like nowadays, and you can see how these two are just like so different. The gamer lifestyle versus the lifestyle of purpose, of self-actualization, of courage, of discipline, of genuine happiness, versus maybe like more happiness, more stimulation in the moment, but that ultimately leaves me miserable in the mornings, in the downtimes, when I actually stop and step back and consider my life. I'm basically being held prisoner in this one, and I'm free, but I'm actually more busy in this one because I'm free to do the work that I find purposeful, and my mind hasn't trapped me into telling me to commit myself to these games because I've basically fooled myself into thinking that that is my work, that that is my purpose, that wasting my time in front of a screen, wasting away in front of any video game really. Like I don't want to condemn video games for everyone at all times for the rest of time, but what I want to do with this channel, just as a side note, is to help people realize that they have a gaming addiction, and to help people actually quit that gaming addiction when they want to quit. And you may argue that, well, oh, you haven't played a real game, you haven't experienced like a truly artful game that's kind of a masterpiece and isn't just designed to make money off of you, off of frying your dopamine circuits and overstimulating you. You've probably only played MMOs throughout your whole life. You have no idea what you're talking about. I've played everything, basically. Well, I haven't played everything, but I've played sandbox games. I've played adventure games like Legend of Zelda. That was my jam back in the day. The more modern Zelda titles as well. Pretty much every title on the Switch I've tried at least once throughout my life. I was a serious gamer back then. I wasn't just playing Fortnite. I was collecting retro consoles. I had a Sega. I had pretty much all of the Nintendo consoles. I had an old PlayStation. I played Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, Symphony of the Night on the old PlayStation. I played... What else did I play? I've played some good games throughout my life. This is just a side rant, but I've played some good games throughout my life. I played some high-quality titles. I can confidently tell or discriminate between what is a good game and what is a bad game, right? And just like junk food, I mean, like there's like really trashy junk food, but there's also like really good junk food. There's like a bag of Cheetos and maybe like some bread pudding that you could order at like a French restaurant, and it's like super good. But they're both bad for you at the end of the day. Same with video games. That's just the point I'm making here. It doesn't really matter what game you're playing or how good it is or how much of a masterpiece RPG experience that you're playing, or if it's just like a cash grab, high dopamine, MMO, RPG, that kind of stuff. That's literally just designed to addict you, like Fortnite or something. It doesn't matter if I'm playing that or I'm playing Elden Ring, which people might consider to be like an actually good title that's designed with like art and actual like appreciation of the user in mind. They're trying to make like an actually like legitimate piece of entertainment compared to just capitalizing off the audience. Sure, there's differences in the intent that was used to make both of those games, but they're both as addictive. You're going to get hooked to both of those. And if you're okay with wasting your life sitting in front of these monitors, these screens, wasting your time away and increasing these virtual numbers, I mean virtually nothing, to your own life, then you're just watching the wrong channel. I don't want you here if you're okay with just watching 18 minutes of this video, listening to me rant about games and how quality doesn't matter. You're still wasting your time, and then you're going to go and type an angry comment. I don't care about that, first of all, but like, why are you here if you're going to do that? You respect yourself so little that, first of all, you're playing video games for freaking 8 hours a day, and now you're going to go make a comment on my channel calling me out for trying to legitimately help people quit their gaming addiction and maybe make some views, some money while doing it. Like, how little do you respect yourself? Like, you have a limited amount of time on this earth, and you're devoting it towards destroying your mind, rotting your brain, playing video games, and now you're going to call me out for trying to do some work that I find legitimate and purposeful, and that is going to help people, and that is going to eventually find success in some medium. Like, how little do you respect yourself in order to spend your time doing stuff like that? I don't consider myself an insecure person. I've basically destroyed that part of me a long time ago, but I don't understand and I don't respect you if you're going to spend your time whining away in the comments section. If you've watched 19 minutes of this video now and you don't agree with what I'm saying about video games, like, sorry, you're gonna have to get a life or just like get out of here. I don't know what to tell you because that's just so sad, and I pity you if that's you right now. But yeah, so quitting gaming for me, you could see the difference in those two lifestyles that I was talking about. Where at one, I'm disciplined. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. every day. I've devoted my lifestyle to this grind of discipline and action and hard work, doing all these different habits. Even if my mind is telling me not to do them, even if I feel bad today, even if I didn't get a lot of sleep last night and I don't feel like it, right? It's this lifestyle of discipline and embracing pain as a means to achieving meaning that is keeping me going right now. So, as you can see, the gamer lifestyle obviously encourages you to be a gamer. It gives you no meaning or reason to be alive outside of, well, I guess I'll just play video games today. I guess I'll just up my rank in League of Legends or whatever. Guess I'll just because my only purpose are just these pixels, these characters, these avatars behind the screen. So yeah, probably change your schedule if you want to stop playing games. Leave no downtime so that you can play games if you are very serious about quitting gaming. So another thing that helped me quit gaming for good and to forego cravings, and another thing that keeps me going if I would ever feel like playing video games again, which I have, and sometimes I've given into that and I've realized, like, wow, it's not even that fun. Gaming isn't even that fun. It's kind of a scam, honestly. It's not even that entertaining. Like, you just like go into like this imaginary world with your character, and then maybe you have a couple things to do, and then when you get those done and it plays like a cool sound effect, it gives you a cool animation, that's pretty much all you get. You're still the same person in real life. You're still the same loser you were then when you turned on the game, and now you've just like manipulated some pixels and like updated a save file to be 100% complete. So congratulations, I guess. But yeah, like, once you actually quit video games and then come back to them like a couple months later, you just realize just like how unfun and like kind of depressing they are. So yeah, I'm held accountable by basically the family that I live with here, and to basically be present and be generous with my time and attention, right? If I'm cooped up in my room playing video games while my parents are up here and doing stuff, and my siblings and the rest of my family are together, they kind of need me to be there as well. I kind of complete the picture because I'm part of something that's bigger than me, right? It's either me showing up to, I don't know, family dinner or family outings, or just being present for my family as a larger unit when hard times come, or when certain things happen that require us to be together. My presence is required, and I can't be just like gaming during that time. So that responsibility that I have towards my family kind of keeps me away from gaming addiction, out of almost like a healthy fear. I have to show up to the weight room at lunch, right? I give guys tips who are trying to build muscle on how to do form, how to lift the weight, how to do that kind of stuff. I pulled from my about year and a half of lifting experience, and I kind of coach them to get to the same level as me, so that's pretty great. People expect me to show up at lunch. I have grades and an image to maintain at school. This is kind of me just stroking my own ego, but I've always been like a very organized, very perfectionist kind of person. So when I go to school, I feel like I have a chip on my shoulder. I feel like I have something to prove. And I do that by keeping my grades up, paying attention in class, looking like I know what I'm doing, that kind of stuff. And if I were to start playing video games again, obviously I'd have less attention to devote to that because my dopamine would be higher. I'd be more easily distracted by different things in my environment. And yeah, my grades, my relationships would probably just take a plunge as a whole. So you can see how I've kind of gamified quitting my gaming addiction by kind of making like my structure the structure of my life support not playing video games as a whole, right? If I were to develop a gaming addiction again today and like do nothing else but play video games, my life would basically come crashing down around my ears. People would be on my back about it. I'd probably lose friends and acquaintances because of it. And yeah, it's just not an ideal situation if I were to start playing video games again. It'd probably be disastrous just because I've adopted so much responsibility and I have so much weight to carry that I can't just run off and do something else. So adapting responsibility as a young man trying to quit video games is definitely going to help you. Now, the last thing I have is new hobbies. So I lift weights to satisfy my need for community and achievements, right? You go to like any gym across the country, when you are like a bodybuilder or a weightlifter or a powerlifter, you're going to find people who share the same interests as you. You're going to find this kind of worldwide community who share the same interest of the hobby of weightlifting as you. They have the same goals, right? And that's something that you can bond over, something that's going to let you train together and share a sense of brotherhood and purpose together. It's going to give you stuff to talk about. So it's very easy to become friends at like the gym, for example, once you start going there and you start taking bulking, training, tracking your macros and your calories, leveling up your form and the weight that you can lift. Once you start taking all of that seriously, it's very easy to start making friends in the gym. Same with any other like productive, community-oriented hobby that isn't gaming. That's going to help you step away from gaming, kind of reform your identity around this new thing that you do that's hopefully more disciplined and more physical maybe than gaming. So I also read for the storytelling that it gives me, both fiction and nonfiction. All books tell a story if they're meant to relay information to the reader. And one thing that I always loved about video games was the storytelling and almost like this like new world that I could expose myself to when I started playing a game, right? And I fulfill that now by reading like fiction, fantasy books, stuff like that, or learning about the new world of certain topics when I read nonfiction books, so like psychology. That's like a whole new world. That's like a whole other domain, a whole other dimension, a whole other universe that I didn't even know existed before I stopped playing video games. And I never would have realized that that was even a thing without quitting video games. And now that I have it, now I can see how people operate. I can see how people's motivations work. I can see how my own urges and impulses work, right? Given what we know about the human mind and how it's set up, and how we make decisions, and how we think, and how we perceive ourselves, and how we store memory and stuff like that. It's just so fascinating. And it's kind of just scratching the itch that I have to discover new worlds, new ways of thinking, new ways to find meaning. So yeah, that's how I cope with my gaming addiction, because I used to go to gaming for purpose, for brotherhood, for fun and adventure. Now I go on adventures with my friends on the weekends. I do new stuff all the time. Maybe I go sledding, maybe I go skating, maybe I go wilderness exploring, maybe I go hiking, stuff like that I do with my friends. And now I don't have that urge to seek adventure inside of gaming anymore. So yeah, those are all the things that make me feel like keep going when I feel like gaming again. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead, like and subscribe. Put any comments or questions in the comments. That's going to help this video on the algorithm. And yeah, consider subscribing if you like what you saw here. And I'll see you later.